Hi, how are you? This is Sheree Richardson, sales coach for Upleveling Female Coaches, Creatives, and Consultants. And I'm here today for today's midweek coffee chat. And I'm so pleased to have one of my biz besties, Brandy Middleton, who is a money mindset and success coach. Hey, Brandy.
Hey, how are you?
Like cross country connection. She's in LA and I'm in North Carolina. So it's great to connect with her. And as you know, the Midweek Coffee Chat is a way for me to bring in guest experts in their field that are very complementary to sales, to the women that I serve. And I know definitely when you're up leveling your business, especially in your sales, you've got to have a strong money mindset. And so the first person I thought of to come and bring on was Brandy, and I'm so happy that she said yes. And so now we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to share this out. So just give me a second. But in the meantime, Brandy, why don't you tell us about yourself and how you got started as a money mindset and success coach?
Of course, yes, Sheree. I'm so excited to be here today. I remember when we first connected, and I feel like it's just a blessing to be able to connect with you again and share kind of with your audience and be here today. So thank you so much for that. I'm a money mindset and success coach, and ultimately, my journey began very much when I was young. So the biggest argument in my household was about money. And I grew up in a middle-class family, and my dad is a lawyer, my mom is an accountant, and there was still this, this struggle, right? Mm-hmm. And so for me, as a young girl, I knew that I had decided that I was going to learn everything that I could about money because I did not want to have this kind of dynamic in the relationship that I would have as an adult. And so for me, I had made that decision very early on. And so that decision kind of carried me through to the finance world. And I started in audit after college, and I started working with KPMG, which is one of the top 4 audit firms, yes, actually across the world. And then from there, I moved into financial advising because it was one of the things that I wasn't getting in audit that I was getting in financial advising is really how does money grow, right? How do we invest money and have our money work for us? So that was a topic that was really, really exciting for me. So in audit, really able to look at businesses and kind of see how they're structured financially and kind of how to take that and build a business, right? The second thing being the financial advising. How do we invest? What do we invest in to grow our money? Right. And then the last stint that I had was 4.5 years as an accountant in entertainment at Warner Music Group. And so my time there was really great, but kind of seeing how things ran from the inside. Because in audit, I was kind of looking at the company from the outside and kind of doing analysis and materiality thresholds. And now I was able to see it from the inside as the accountant. And for me, one of the things that kind of drove me to do that is I had family members that were in entertainment and singing and all that stuff. And it was like, how do royalties work? How does this work? So for me, a lot of my life has been studying and understanding how money works, how we can create passive income, residual income, how we can invest, how we can look at how businesses are set up and structured, and ultimately so that I could do it for myself and now do it for others. So that was really huge for me. And along the way, I realized how much my own mindset would get in the way of a lot of the success that I could have. Even with all the understanding of the technical aspects of money, I still had my own limiting beliefs. So going back to when I was young, right, I had this idea that making money was hard. And so I actually made it very difficult. Right, I worked 16-hour days and 18-hour days at the audit firm, right? And I was salaried. So I was making the same amount of money the entire time. So through this entire process, I was building and developing my personal development and my mindset to understand why I was acting the way that I was acting and how that was helping or basically taking away from how I could build money, how I could invest, and how I could grow myself, my business, and support others in the process.
Right. I mean, that's such a good thing because I know, like you mentioned, even just having relatives. I too have relatives who are in the entertainment industry, and that's a big thing. You know, you don't think about these things or money and managing it and being able to really think about where do we want to do with it? How do we want to grow it and make it work for us?
Yeah.
And like we just think about, getting clients, and that's it. But we don't think about how do we actually use that money to where we're being smart with it and not just going out and spending it. And all these fancy pictures that we see and all these things, and like, okay, that costs money, you know what I mean? And you want to, you know? And so what advice would you give to a coach who is right now at that point in her business and she's ready to up level and she's ready to really make a shift and go higher in her business? What would you say to someone like that?
I think that's a really good question. I know that when we're starting, we're all at different places. And what I find that I come across a lot with my clients is that the biggest blocks that we have tend to be, you know, I'm not good enough, or making money is hard when it comes to money. I know that the I'm not good enough is kind of pervasive. It goes kind of across the board, whether it's in money or outside of money in our personal development. But it's a lot of times a foundational belief, and it happens a lot with women too in the female community, that we don't think that we're good enough. And it was really funny because I was thinking about, speaking about sales, Denise Duffield Thomas, she did this clip, and I don't know if you've seen it, but she was talking about how women sell versus how men sell.
Yes.
And it was so beautiful. And you can see the belief, the lack of belief we have as females, this I'm not enough, this thing isn't good enough. So she basically brought a man up on stage, right? And she asked, she basically was like, okay, I'm going to sell as a man, right? And she pretty much has her phone, has this thing, right? She's like, this is how men sell. You know, do you want this thing? Yeah, you want the thing? Okay, exchange money, bought the thing, or sold the thing, right? And us as females, we are going through this process, like this back and forth process. And it's like, oh, I want to sell this thing, but I don't know if I can sell this thing. Is my thing really good enough? You know, oh, maybe I should change the colors on my thing. You know, like, then it was like, oh, I really want to sell this thing. Yeah, let me pump myself up to sell this thing, right? Oh, well, it's something retrograde, right? I can't sell this thing. Like, it's hilarious, right? But ultimately, it's what it is that we're thinking, right? To sell the thing, right, isn't actually that difficult. We make it difficult based on the thoughts that we're having in our head. So for us to pick up the phone and call a human being, it's actually not difficult to do that task. It's what we're thinking about, what the person's going to be thinking, what we're saying, how we're saying it. It's what we're thinking about that's making that difficult. And so ultimately, I would recommend becoming aware of what those limiting beliefs are that are coming up for you, right? And how do you overcome the limiting belief? How do you step through to the other side of that and step into the woman that creates the results that she desires to have in her life?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's funny. I just shared that video in my mastermind because it's something that we all face. You know, I'm working with clients who are dealing with not promoting themselves well, or just being afraid of that rejection before you've even had contact. You've already played out the whole scenario in your mind about they're going to reject me, and you've never even tried to ask for the sale. You know what I mean? So that's something that's so very important.
That's so powerful. I love that. Like, I didn't even know that you had shared that, but that was connected in that way.
You know what? Just Monday I shared it.
That's awesome. That's how that happens, though, right? That's perfect. Now they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh gosh, definitely. When I started in sales, that was my biggest thing, was going in front of a doctor and getting that poker face and him telling me, okay, no, I'm not interested. And that was my biggest nightmare. I had to really, really work at that mindset first, and then do a lot of role playing, get myself really confident before I can go in and do that. And so I do understand that is a concern, that is a fear. But we also know that we can get beyond that. So that's a good thing to know, that there is another side, you know what I mean, the other side of the rainbow, that you can get beyond that fear and you can be successful. Yeah. And so also, like, in your opinion, you know, we talked about how mindset can affect your sales. But what about when you're trying to do even more? So you've got some success and you're like, okay, you know, I got my 5K. Now I want to make 10 or 20K a month. And we kind of touched on this before, but how would you prepare for yourself to get to that point? How can someone say, I'm ready to receive more, I want more from my business, without feeling that guilt?
Yeah, I think that a lot of things are similar. One of the things that I've realized and that I've learned is that, as one of my old coaches would say, like, new level, new devil. So ultimately what that is just revisiting that same process that I spoke to just previously, but with either a new limiting belief that's coming up that's stopping you from getting from like the 5K, say, to the 20K, or it's the same belief showing up in a different way. Sometimes, like, for example, not knowing what people are going to think of me, right? Or being worried about what people are going to think of me. So if I'm showing up in front of 500 people, right, I might have gotten to a level where I'm okay in front of 500 people. And what they think of me is, but if I now show up in front of like 50 million, I'm like, oh my God, like, this is crazy, right? Like I have the opportunity, like with 500, like maybe like 2 people will be like, I don't like you. And you're like, whatever, 2 people. But like 50 million, it might be like 100,000 people that say like they don't like you. And you might have some sort of energy around that. And so it is a similar limiting belief. And you look at it, you're like, I've mastered this. But sometimes it could show up again in a completely different way at a whole new level, right? Yeah. So it could be either the same limiting belief showing up differently, or a new limiting belief that you weren't aware of, that's causing a gap between where you are now at, like, say, 5K a month to where it is that you need to go at 20K a month. So who you are being up until this point is creating the results that you have today, right? And so if you're not creating 20K months, it's because you haven't stepped into the person and taking those actions and having the belief system that version of you should need to have, right? So what you've done. So ultimately it's stepping into taking action, right? And coupling that with mastering a belief system that is supported by the 20K woman.
Right.
So it's ultimately a similar process. You're just doing it again at a different level.
Exactly.
Right?
And so I know that you have some great tips for us in addition to what you've already said, which is so great for women who are really trying to perfect their money mindset for their businesses. They're looking at their businesses right now, like, what can I do to get out of this rut so that I can open myself up to receiving? And so I'm going to turn it over to you for that, and I have a few more questions after that.
Yeah, of course. So this is funny. Like, what I've been speaking to, in essence, right, is stepping into the woman that creates the result that you want to create, right? If you're at 0, want to create, 2K months or 5K months, like, who do you have to be to step into that woman? If you want to create 20K months, who do you have to be to step into that woman? So basically, your job is to be able to determine what that block is, that limiting belief that's stopping you, right, from getting to that next level. And then going in, deep diving into that conversation and figuring out how to release that limiting belief, right? So basically, the first step is the awareness that there is something happening. The second step would then be determining what the actual block is, and then addressing the block, right? So one of the ways that you can actually do that for yourself is to create a mindset routine that's going to support you in releasing the limiting belief, right? So one of the things, some of the foundational pieces that I talk about in structuring a mindset routine, well, first of all, there's several ways that you can set up a mindset routine, right? There's a few things that are really, really powerful. Some foundational pieces that I talk about that you want to have in your mindset routine. You want to have a meditation, right? You want to do something that's going to get you into your body and out of your head. Yeah. Now, I know a lot of people, sometimes they struggle with the idea of meditation. Ultimately, what I'm looking at here is you sitting in one place in silence, right? And a lot of times we'll have this chatter and we'll think, I can't do this, which again is a limiting belief, right? I can't do this. I have too much noise. My monkey brain's going off, whatever it is that you call it. There's too much thought.
Right.
I'm an analyzer. I'm a Virgo. I think like a crazy person. Like, I literally have had people ask me, like, like, what are you thinking right now? In 20 seconds, I'll like give them like what I was thinking about. And they're like, how are you still alive right now? Like, how did you think all that stuff and still function? And I'm like, I don't know. That's just how it is. I have had lots and lots of thoughts. I've had to practice, right? Sitting in silence and getting to a point where I can meditate and having this silence or this gap, as it's called with meditation, right? So ultimately, the first thing is to be aware that that is normal, that you're thinking thoughts, right? And don't judge yourself for that.
Right.
Just know that it's part of the process. And the longer you practice, the better you'll get. Two is to visualize, right? Our unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between reality and fantasy, right? So ultimately, if we're creating this picture of what it is that we see, what we envision our life to be, then we continue to bring that to the forefront, right? Where our unconscious mind is going to say, oh, this is our life. So it has to go to action, creating that result, right? So visualizing who it is that you desire to be. And what I like to do is have you create like a future memory of who you are at the point where you've created consistent 20K months, right? Yeah. What is it that you're doing at that time? What are you wearing? How are you being, right? And take a snapshot in time and visualize that image, that picture of who you are at that time. And I like to say, like, after you've created that result, right? Are you dining with your husband at one of your favorite restaurants? I'm in LA, so I would say Beverly Hills or wherever it is that you want to dine, right? Like, right. What is the image, right? Are you flying private to a certain location? What is that image that has you saying, I have created this result, right? And step into that, each morning in your routine, right? And you can do that more than just during the routine, right? And one of the things that I talk about a lot is anchoring. So that's something that can be really powerful to help you kind of use that visualization throughout the day. Right. And then really creating like a affirmation that's going to support this belief, right? Yes. If you're saying that you want to believe, or your belief is that I'm not good enough, right? Then what you want to believe instead, so you want to pick something that's positive and opposite of that. If you're saying I'm not good enough, you likely want to believe that I am good enough, right? So you want to pick a affirmation that's the positive and opposite of that. And the thing with this, though, is a lot of people will say that affirmations don't work. And I understand why. Ultimately, our unconscious mind, right? Our unconscious mind really basically works and listens to our emotions and our feelings, right? So if you're just saying words without a positive emotion in support of that, it's not going to work, right? And so this is the key thing with affirmations is that you have to work on increasing the positive emotion in connection with the sentence that you're saying, right? So there's a few ways to kind of trick yourself, I guess, in a sense. Some of the things that I like to do is dance or use music or say your sentence in a silly voice that makes you laugh so that your energy is positive while you're actually saying that. A second way to do that is to actually do an affirmation, right? Which is basically an affirmation in the form of a question. So our mind is set up to answer questions, right? We're solving things all the time. So if you're saying that you want to believe that you are good enough, right? Ask yourself, why am I so good enough, right? And you're
Mhm.
not in essence now saying I am, right? Where the unconscious mind can say, well, that's not true, right? You're in essence asking, why is this the case? So it's no longer a question of if that is the case. It's just a matter of, oh, let me find evidence. Now your brain has to go to work to find evidence that you actually are enough. And then you'll start bringing that information up. And then now you even have the proof as to why it is that you're good enough. And the more that you do that, the more that you get to find those things. And then always, of course, adding, the last thing I would say is adding some reading, right? Some wealth consciousness reading. So one of my favorite go-to books to start with is Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, yeah.
And it is kind of, I know for people reading it for the first time, it's dated, it's from a period before us. But if we really pay attention to what it is that they're saying and following the practices that Napoleon Hill speaks about, it's super, super powerful. And he actually will go through a lot of the stuff that I've mentioned, in that book. So kind of surrounding yourself in essence with content and information that's going to support you shifting and changing your mindset, and less associating with content and information with people that are going to pull you away from the desired belief that you want to have and the desired results that you want to have in relation to that.
Right. I mean, the one thing that really helped me get over, I guess, a lot of my limiting beliefs was I started meditating, and at first it did feel weird, I won't lie. But I used the guided meditations off a few apps that I found, and I did find that afterwards I did feel so much lighter, and I did have more focus. So I can definitely attest to the fact that meditation does work, and I even do like with aromatherapy now with essential oils, things like that. So yeah, affirmations too. They're on my wall. I have many Post-its. Because you really do have to constantly, work that muscle. It's like working a muscle, like exercising. And to really develop and build up a strong mindset so that you can know that I want more and I'm worthy of more and I deserve more. And I think that's a big, big thing that, especially as women, we deal with that every day, in our business. So we have to get past that in order to be open to receive it. And so thank you for that. And so I wanted to ask, what is an action item? So what can our viewers do like today? Like once we're done here, they can just do today to get started to have a strong money mindset.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I love what you were just saying about, the aromatherapy. As I was saying earlier, there's several ways that you can set up a mindset routine that supports you and kind of the things that work for you. And I love essential oils. Like even having lavender, will relax your body and help you really get into that space. I love that you said that, because I use it for myself, like when I go to bed, but I've never really processed it, for meditation. But that's really powerful. But ultimately, my tip would be what it is that I've been speaking to, which is setting up this mindset routine.
Yes.
Right. So stepping into the women that would create consistent 20K months. So one, becoming aware of what the block is, working through the block, setting up a mindset routine to get through the block, right? And what's super cool is I actually have a freebie for you guys, which is the top 3 money blocks and how you can overcome them, right? So I actually walk you through what the top 3 money blocks are, what is your top money block, right? And what you can do, how you can structure this routine to support you in releasing that limiting belief. So that's absolutely free, and you have the opportunity to grab that too. Of course, what I've already shared with setting up that routine, put those steps in place, right? So that you can do that right now today, and set up, become aware, basically what is limiting belief, and set up that routine. You can do that right now. And I gave you the steps ultimately for the routine itself, right? And, next you could actually grab that and see what those blocks are and walk through it and have me walk you right through that, via the PDF as well. So
yes, That's great. So definitely be sure to send me that link and I'll put that in the comments. So yes, please download that because I know that this is something that we all need. Everyone needs to get past this block so that we can build wealth and be open to receive that wealth. So yes, thank you for that resource. So tell us, where else can we find you? Where can the viewers find you? Where's your group, your page, website?
I love that. I am at brandymiddleton.com. So my name's spelled with a Y, Brandy, Middleton, just like Kate Middleton, married to the Prince of England. So brandymiddleton.com. And I basically am that everywhere. So Brandy Middleton on Facebook. So at Brandy Middleton on Instagram. And my business page on Facebook would be at Brandy Middleton 32 on Facebook. So yeah, you can definitely find me in those places. And yeah, that freebie is actually brandymiddleton.com/T3B. So it's very simple. Yeah, so there's T3B after brandymiddleton.com. And I'm interested.
Yes, but please go to brandymiddleton.com and check out that freebie because you really will need that if you want to expect more and you want more for your money mindset, okay? And if you're ready to make more money and support fewer clients, definitely book a call today so that we can definitely get started to get your money mindset. After your money mindset's together, now we can get you to where you're actually making that money and serving fewer clients and giving them more support. So definitely click that link there. I have it up there. There it is. Click the link there, and it'll also be in the comments. And to find me, you can find me at the Sales Mastery for the Established Online Business Owner, and that is my Facebook group here. No, I'm sorry, Established Online Business Owners is my Facebook group where you can find more of me. And Brandy, she gave you her group, so definitely check both of us out because we definitely want to get you to where you are not only open to receiving wealth, but also are taking the actions to make that money. So mindset and sales are two things that you definitely go hand in hand to help you up-level your business. So Brandy, thank you so much for just joining us today and just for giving us so much of your expertise and your openness and your time, of course. And so thank you all until our next midweek coffee chat. See you later. All right.